Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today I am in the old city of Jerusalem and I'm going to guide you through a very beautiful place that is related to two stories. One biblical stories where Jesus healed the paralytic near Bethesda Pools, and the other story is the tradition where is the birthplace of Virgin Mary to her parents Anne and Joakim. Let's start our tour. We see here ancient remains that go back to the 1st century. This is the location of Bethesda Pools, where Jesus healed a paralyzed man on a Sabbath when he came to Jerusalem for one of the Jewish feasts. He saw him near the pools, and the man was paralyzed for 38 years. And Jesus told him, "Rise, take your pallet and walk." Of course, Jesus doing this on a Sabbath was not something that the Jews liked, because it was a sacred day and people were not supposed to work on that day. We can read this story in the book of John, chapter 5. Okay, I'm going down a little bit to show you remains from 1st, 5th century. The waters in the pools here were famous for their healing powers, and that's where the name came. Bethesda comes from the words Beth Hasda, which means the house of the graceful waters. It had also another name. It was called the sheep pool, because the pools here were used for purifying the sheep for sacrificing them in the temple of Jerusalem. This happened during 1st and 2nd temple period. What we see now is mostly remains from the 5th century Basilica. First, the Romans here in the 2nd century built a temple dedicated to Ascelpius, who is the Greek god of medicine and healing. Then later, in the 5th century, the Byzantines, and we can see this sign that this is a Byzantine wall we are looking at. So in the 5th century, the Byzantines built a large basilica over the pools, and then the basilica was destroyed in the 7th century during the Persian invasion. Here down there is a Roman cistern for collecting water. There was 2 pools in this place. And this is here the southern pool. You can see the sign over here. Then after the 5th century basilica was destroyed by the Persians, in the 12th century, when the Crusaders conquered the land, they left the ruins of the older structures built over the pools, and they built this nearby church, and they dedicated it to Saint Anne, Mary's mother, according to tradition. It is believed that this is the place of Virgin Mary before she moved to live in Nazareth. And later, when the Crusaders were defeated by the Muslims in 1187, led by Salah ad-Din. He did not destroy the church, but converted it to a religious school. It was called madrasa, theological school, and it remained under Muslims' rule until the late 19th century, when the Ottomans gave it back to the French in return for their help in the war. And since then it remained under the French White Fathers' order management. You can also see the French flag over the church. This is the entrance to the church. Also notice above the entrance of the church there is a Muslim inscription, and this church has a very beautiful acoustic sound. Usually pilgrim groups chant inside the church in their native language, and it sounds beautiful. I will show you now inside the church, and also the crypt where it is believed Our Lady Virgin Mary was born. I'm not allowed to explain inside the church, so I will try to remain silent. This is the statue for Saint Anne and her daughter, Virgin Mary, when she was a child. Down is the birthplace of Our Lady, where it is believed the cave where she was born. Here you can see original bedrock from the cave from the 1st century. Here is the Nativity, and we can see icon inside representing the event. Now I will go back up. Okay, this concludes our tour in this beautiful place. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe to see more sites and places in the Holy Land. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.